Topping today's news, Prime Minister Davis says the government is doing all it can to fight the influx of illegal migrants. A number of shootings taking place in country on Wednesday, and a former justice lies in state. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Prime Minister Philip Davis, having just returned from Buenos Aires, Argentina, following the 7th Summit of Leaders of the Latin American and Caribbean Community, or CELAC, is commenting now on recent increases in migration activity from Haiti. The Prime Minister telling reporters this morning that until the problems in Haiti are fixed, the illegal migrant challenges will continue as people are desperate.
The international community has heard my cries. I made that intervention at CELAC. The Prime Minister, Prime Minister Pro Tem of Haiti was present, and we discussed the issues of what's occurring now in Haiti. The challenge is, as I pointed out to my fellow heads, that until we fix Haiti, this will continue to happen. It's a humanitarian crisis there. People are desperate, and migration and desperate and dangerous migration will continue. The new policy of the United States government, which I had a conversation with the Vice President about a couple of weeks ago, is something that's also pulling the Haitians to make that dangerous trek to try to get to the United States.
Now, on the heels of the nearly 400 Haitian migrants being intercepted by U.S. Coast Guards in the area of Quisal Bank on Sunday, now detained on Inagua, and a suspected 100 migrants making landfall in South Andros, both incidents have caused great uproar among Bahamians. Prime Minister Davis reiterates that he and his government is doing all they can.
Well, maybe they could tell us what else we can do, but we know that we are doing all that we can. Last year, we repatriated over 3,500 Haitians back to Haiti. They have about over 40 incidents of our defense force sending boats, intercepting vessels and returning them over the last year. And for this year, the defense force has already interdicted many of them and sending them back home. They're going to continue to come. As long as the conditions in Haiti persist, we're going to have people trying to get out of Haiti. And if you speak to them, most of them are not trying to get to the Bahamas. They are trying to get to the United States of America. Varying conditions get them into our waters, and as they come into our waters, we are, because of our international treaty, we are bound to process them and return them as quickly as we can. That's what we've been doing.
The Prime Minister says it is important to get institutions in Haiti back up and running so that people living there can be educated on the new policies of the United States government, which essentially broadens protection for certain Haitian immigrants and allows them to live and work in the United States without fear of deportation. Hours after the Prime Minister Philip Davis addressed leaders of the Latin American and Caribbean community about the ongoing crisis in Haiti, law enforcement agencies began a frantic search for those Haitians on Andros. They ran ashore in the Bluff area in South Andros sometime around 8 p.m. on Tuesday. Our Destiny Johnson has the latest on that story.
Following a 30 to 40 feet Haitian sloop vessel landing in the Bluff Andros last night, Immigration Press Liaison Assistant Director of Immigration Rudolph Ferguson says presently 41 migrants are in custody.
After receiving intelligence and information of possible landing in that area, in conjunction with our colleagues in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, we dispatched officers there immediately that very evening, and that forces were augmented the following morning by additional resources of Immigration and Defense Force officers on the ground. Presently, they're still on the ground, doing what we call a full court press. It simply means that we were left no stone unturned until we are satisfied that we would have got all of those individuals in custody.
He goes on to say that some of those migrants were transported to Nassau and some are still in custody. Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Raymond King during the Office of the Prime Minister press briefing this morning, telling reporters that the sloop has a capacity to hold only 40 persons. Yet from intelligence and information, it was determined that 100 Haitian migrants arrived on the vessel. In addition to carrying out what they call a full court press to capture all migrants that were aboard the boat, Assistant Director Ferguson says officers are also intercepting other persons found without documentation.
Not only, when we do these joint operations, not only persons coming who we suspect to be coming by boat, but anybody who's in our territory who does not have legal status. We will then have that conversation with them. We will interview them, and they will violate any of our laws. They will be dealt with. We have an enforcement team, and we work along with our national and international partners, and we are making arrests every day of illegal migrants throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas.
Following the capture of almost 400 migrants over the weekend by the U.S. Coast Guard and then being sent to Inagua for processing, there have been some questions as to whether the RBDF can handle the influx of illegal migrants. Commodore King says there is a need for resources and more manpower in the future.
At this current moment, what we have is adequate. But as we continue to decentralize, there is a strategic plan. We would have to recruit more. I've placed before the government a package to acquire additional safe boats. We're in the procurement process now to acquire a second roll-on, roll-off vessel, a 62-meter patrol craft. I've placed a package to acquire additional aircraft. There's an infrastructural upgrade package that we are completing now for the Honorable Minister, for the government to seek funding from public-private partnership investments. But as we continue to build out, we would need additional manpower. We would need additional resources. And those strategic packages have already been placed before the Honorable Minister for the government's consideration.
Commodore King commends all RBDF officers for the job they are doing to continue to keep our borders safe. For Love 97 News, I'm Destiny Johnson.
Thanks, Destiny. Now, while search was being carried out for those migrants on Andros, police on Grand Bahama were arresting 5 Haitian migrants. Shortly after 11 p.m. on Tuesday, officers attached to Rapid Response were on patrol in the area of Martintown, 8 Mile Rock, when they observed the occupants of a black Nissan Note acting in a suspicious manner. The officers conducted a search of that vehicle and the occupants and discovered over $10,000 in cash, which was confiscated. The men, ranging in ages between 28 and 42 years old, they were then taken into custody and later handed over to the Bahamas Department of Immigration for further investigation. In crime news, police have launched investigations into 2 overnight shooting incidents. A 29-year-old male on Abaco was arrested following a shooting in Marsh Harbor shortly before 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Police reports revealing that 3 men, patrons of a sports bar in the Marsh Harbor area, they were on the outside of the bar when a male known to them fired gunshots in their direction, resulting in the men being shot. The victims, ages 53, 32, and 29 years old, received multiple gunshot injuries and were taken to the local clinic for medical attention. They were subsequently airlifted to New Providence for further medical assistance. Police arrested the suspect shortly after that incident. Meanwhile, police here in the capital are in search of the gunman responsible for a shooting in the area of West Street in the Baintown area last night. Preliminary reports indicate the victim, a 28-year-old male of West Street, was standing in front of a residence when he was approached by the occupants of a dark-colored Nissan Cube and a white Toyota RAV4. Subsequently shot. The victim was taken to hospital via emergency medical services personnel, where he is listed as stable. Should you have any information regarding the whereabouts of the suspects or the vehicles utilized in this incident, please contact Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. That's 328-8477 or call 919. Bahamas Union of Teachers is in support of the teachers of Central Eleuthera High School who stood in solidarity with one of their colleagues who was allegedly attacked by an irate parent that entered the school campus on Tuesday. This coming from the Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson, who spoke in response to the incident.
They wore black to show unity, and there were a series of meetings held with the principal, the district superintendent. There's a list of concerns related to safety on the school campus, discipline or the lack thereof, and the concerns about disruptive, rude students, one of whom is the son of the parent. So we are in a series of meetings. We will be communicating with the district superintendent, the acting director, and the teacher would have made a complaint to the police.
And finally, in this segment, with Renaissance Learning Incorporated having been selected as the educational software company partnering with the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training to conduct the learning assessment for students following the COVID-19 pandemic, we get more details on exactly how Renaissance plans to follow through with its assessment plans from Diane Weeks, a manager at Renaissance Learning.
These assessments are about 20 minutes long. And with that 20-minute assessment, we are going to give it to all of the students. So it's going to be our universal screener. All students will be screened with this assessment. And from that 20-minute assessment, your teachers are going to gather a lot of data that is going to be right there at their fingertips. We can track student mastery. We can measure growth. We can monitor the progress of those students as we target their instruction. We can also plan general instruction and intervention instruction for our students. And not only is this assessment a great tool for helping find those gaps that students have that may not be on targeting those skills that may not be on grade level. However, it's also a great tool to use for those students that are performing above grade level. It will still give exactly what those students are ready to focus on next, so we can ensure they are excelling in their education as well.
Now, as it relates to providing assistance for students once the severity of potential learning loss is discovered, Ms. Weeks says this.
We are going to be there to support your teachers. We are going to be there throughout the year. This is getting started with STAR is going to be our very first session. We're going to come in the 90-minute sessions. There's going to be several opportunities for teachers to join to get that basic information, what STAR is, and how to give the assessment with fidelity. Then they're going to administer the STAR assessment. And then we're going to come back in and give them training on how to read their scores, how to read their reports, how to plan and make instructional decisions based on the data that they're getting. Then we're going to come back, look at progress monitoring and planning for learning recovery. Then the teachers are going to administer the test again. They will most likely only have to administer the assessment 2 times this year. And then we're going to look at growth and adjusting instruction. So we are there for your teachers, giving them the information that they need when they need it.
The learning loss assessment test will take place in February and will affect some 40,000 students. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.